We respectfully request the Sangha great virtues for the sake of this assembly and all living beings. Please turn the wonderful Dharma wheel to teach and guide us how to end birth and death, leave suffering and attain bliss, and quickly realize non-birth. Cung thính Đại Đức Tăng Thịnh, vì tứ Pháp hội cập nhật thiết chúng sanh. Tịnh chuyên diệu phạm luân, giáo đạo ngã môn. Như há liêu sanh thoát tư, lý khổ đạc lạc. Tất chứng vô sanh. Homage to the Blessed, Noble, and Perfectly Enlightened One. Nam mô Sa Đan Tô Su Chê Yo Ye A La Hơ Đi San Miao San Pu Tô Xie. Nam mô Ta Đắc Tha Tô Ya Đa Ya La Ha Đế Tam Miệu Tam Bồ Đà Toa. The unsurpassed, profound, subtle, and wonderful Dharma in 100,000 million aeons is difficult to encounter. Now that I'm able to see and hear, I will receive and maintain it. I vow to fathom the thus come one true and actual principles. Wu sheng 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 wei miao fa bai qian wan jie nan zao yu. Wo jin jian wen de shou chi yuan jie ru lai zhe shi yi. O Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, Great Master Ching Liang, Great Master YongHua, all good monks and nuns, and all good new advisors, Emitofuo. 诸佛菩萨、精良大士、师父上人、各位出家人、各位善知识，弥陀佛。Chư Phật Bồ Tát kính thưa Thanh Lương Đại sư Hữu Tình Đường Hóa, quý thầy cô và các vị thị sĩ thưa tất cả Di Đà Phật. Hello everyone, today is the 20th of October 2023. We're here at Way Mountain Temple discussing the prologue, door number 2 to the Avatamsaka Sutra. Thank you all for joining us. We are right now on slide 613. It's been a while, so let me remind you. He's discussing here, it's kind of interesting, he's discussing about the different kinds of Buddhist teachings, where this section is a Master Chucha, where Master Chucha, who is a patriarch of the Tiantai school, he decided to classify the Buddhist teaching into 4 types of teachings. Number 1, 3 stores, or the Tripitaka, that's basically Hinayana teaching. Second teaching is connective teaching, meaning that it's a little bit higher than the 3 store or the Hinayana teaching, but also it connects from Hinayana and prepares it to the Mahayana teaching. Okay, so it's in between. So you notice that the Buddha's teaching is very, very gradual. I mean, it's very gentle. He prepares us gradually. Okay, however long it would take, he would prepare us. That's why he would have something called connective teaching, which is for someone who's not quite happy yet with the Hinayana achievements. He says there's more. Okay, and then after the connective teaching, it's called separate teaching. This is the third teaching here. It's separate teaching. So we are on slide 613. Okay, the reason it is not called the uncommon, but it is called the separate, is equally to sort it out as not the perfect.
不明不共，而云别者，兼欲简非缘故。
Okay, 614 commentary. So here, Master Ching Liang commentary, it says that the reason Master Chucha chose to call it separate, but not uncommon, is for a reason. Is because it's really not uncommon. Uncommon is not enough, because uncommon is to separate from the two vehicles, okay, and from the two vehicles, but separate is also better a designation to separate it from the following teaching, okay, which is a perfect teaching. And so it is separate from the perfect teaching, from the ultimate teaching, if you will. Okay, meaning that you don't want to stop yet. Yes, it's separate from the prior teachings, but it's not ultimate, if you will. Okay, 614 next. The reason it is not uncommon is because it's to equally sort it out as not the perfect. So to sort out here is also to annotate what Master Ching Liang says is that actually it's a note for us professionals, cultivators, people who cultivate. We remind ourselves that it's not, it's better, it's higher level than the three stores or connective teaching, separate teaching, because it's rather special. And it's special enough, but it's not quite the ultimate special. It's not perfect yet. Okay, and that's why this is a very separate teaching. Actually, it also has a different connotation as well. It turns out, from a teacher perspective, separate means that you actually are treated separately from the rest as well. Okay, he didn't mention it, but separate here is that you cannot be taught the same way as connective teachings or practitioners or the three-store practitioners. Okay, because here, in order, right, for this particular teaching here, it's very effective because it emphasizes individual connections, individual instructions. Separately, each person is separately instructed, which is very important. Whereas in the lower levels, you can sit there and you don't need to be individually paid attention individually, if you will. Okay, and because it gets more complicated, if you will. As you get higher, the instructions, the way to solve your obstructions, your problems are more complicated, and therefore, the teacher must pay attention to you separately, if you will. Okay, and that's very important. This is because this is required for you to break through, have a big breakthrough, so that you can go even higher after. Okay, and so in a way, to me personally, I see it separate because it's a reminder for a teacher that it requires a lot more attention to. You need to pay attention to the individual separately to help with the breakthrough. What you don't realize is that from a teacher perspective, it's very demanding and very delicate, a lot more than you realize. You guys just happy, go lucky, and say, "Oh, Master said I'm enlightened already. Hooray! Let's go celebrate." That's all you care about. Okay, actually, there's a lot more going on behind the scenes. Okay, you need to pay attention separately on each individual. Okay, and this is why the training in Mahayana is quite different from Hinayana. There's a lot more demanding, a lot more going on behind the scenes than you realize. And that's why when you go to this level of separate things here, actually separate here goes quite a long way before you go into perfect teaching. Okay, so you need the student needs separate instructions for a long, long time to go further and further and further. Anyway, and so I think the name is clever. Separate here, actually, the scholars, they fail to understand this part, where actually separate here means, from the teacher perspective, it's an individual care separately, okay, for this part of the journey in your spiritual path. Questions or comments? A lot more going on than people realize, a lot more going on than the Chinese masters are willing to tell us. Okay? All right, 616. That is because the individual causes remain quite distinct and the individual fruits do not interfuse. They're cultivated by passing through something separate, so one does not reach perfect interpenetration of causes and the fruit.
以一因迥出，一果不容，立别而修，不得因果圆融故。
Okay, 617, commentary. And furthermore, another aspect of the principles behind this is that the individual causes remain quite distinct. What does it mean? It means that here you need precision, okay? Meaning that you need to pay attention to the different triggers, different causes, if you will, to arrive at the fruits, at the fruition, at the results. There is actually a connection, a very clear connection from the cause to the fruit. Okay, so that's why, because it's quite complicated. It's not like low levels where you can be more lax. Here, you have to pay attention to the individual causes. Okay, so for example, what does it mean to us? I don't know. What does it mean to us? This is why we teach you. Okay, when we teach you, when we try to bring you, share Mahayana with you, I said I'm going to do two things: Chan and Pure Land. Okay, Chan because I want to help you plant the proper fruition, of enlightenment. Actually, right there is the individual causes. What does it take for you to become enlightened? Okay, you need to know the causes for your enlightenment because they're very specific. You need to do certain things right so that you get there. Okay, and at this level here, okay, you have to pay attention to plant the proper causes. Okay, so this is where the proper instruction, the proper Dharma matter. So that's why it pays, for example, to have a person alive look at you and say, "Oh," and they speak Dharma to you, Dharma for you, versus, let's say, playing a tape. Okay, and that's more like a low level, if you will. Low level, they don't need to be that specific. Okay, here you have to plant the causes for you to make it to the fruition. Okay, you have to pay attention to that. Okay, however, at this level here, even though you have the big wisdom, but you don't have the ultimate wisdom, because the ultimate wisdom is that there's no interpenetration between the causes and the fruitions, okay, which we'll explain a little bit later. All right, so this is a level of wisdom here is a little bit like lower, like this the ones that Master YongHua taught, for example. Okay, what he taught them is basically separate teaching. Okay. And because at this level here, you need to be specific, you need to be careful and astute, judicious in planting the proper causes to get the fruitions. Okay. However, at this level here, you don't have the interpenetration of causes and the fruits yet. Causes are not. There's no interpenetration yet, which is in the perfect teaching. It makes sense to you, right? It doesn't have to. Don't worry. Okay. So this is a glimpse. This slide 619 here is a glimpse of what the perfect teaching is about. It's in the perfect teaching, there's interpretation where at the time of the fruition, one knows the causes. At the time of the cause, you know the fruition. Okay, this is bigger wisdom, if you will. Okay. It's no more discrimination between cause and fruition. Okay, and the wisdom is such that you see the cause, that's a fruition right there. If, for example, in the Avatamsaka Sutra, the Buddha says, if anyone, Buddhist or non-Buddhist, let's say walks into a Buddha hall, and all they do is acknowledge the Buddha with like a nod their head, half bow, or even like the Japanese do it, hoping for a miracle. Okay, this is what the Japs do at their Shinto temples. They pray to the gods and their spirits, and they do a bow and then. Even if you do that to the Buddha statue, the Buddha says, you will become a Buddha like me. Okay, I'm added this, okay? I don't know for sure. So please don't try this. I'm making fun of them, okay? Because I don't have any Japanese disciples. Do we have any Japanese disciples? As soon as there's one, I stop making fun of Japanese. I need to think on someone, okay, who's not here. So anyway, so the point is that the Buddha says in Lotus Sutra, it says, if you acknowledge a Buddha image at all, whether it's a Buddha statue, an image on the wall, okay, or even a relic of the Buddha, when you do that, you will become a Buddha. Because he says, it's right there, is that cause right there, and you see the fruition right away. That's what it means. Okay? Whereas in the separate teaching, it says because you do that, it creates blessings. Because of blessings, enables you to encounter Chan. Because of Chan, you'll be able to encounter Master YongHua. And because, no, not me, you idiot. And then because you encounter Master YongHua, you will encounter his help. Because you encounter his help, he'll protect you from his disciples. And so forth. Okay, and so they have all these separate things to help you nudge you along. But whereas in perfect teaching, because you plant that cause, the Buddha says, right there, I see you as a Buddha already. It's no more time. Spectrum. You see that? So it's perfect teaching. It's right there, immediately. It's certain teaching, right there. Okay? So 620, and without unobstructed penetration, one, nothing obstructs anyone else. Okay, meaning evil cannot obstruct good. Good will not try to obstruct evil. Okay, evil feel free to try to harm good, to slander, to whatever. Be all you can be, okay? Be yourself, okay? Your loser self. It doesn't bother us. Ha ha ha. Still some pretty sick people, you know. They have nothing to do but fill their heart with hate instead of, you know, and anyways, their stupidity, who cares? Okay. And so you have unobstructed interpenetration, you see that, so much hatred right there, and you see the hell. That's why when I see it, wow, this stupid monk is going to the hells. Okay. And sure enough, my late mother, she was doing stupid things. And I say, wow, she's going to the hells. And sure enough, guess where she is? Oh, I'm not supposed to laugh. Sorry. Yeah, so cruel. Francis is so disappointed. Yeah, poor Francis. I know. But Francis is like, Mom, me dearest. Mommy is number one. Here, Master, making fun of Mommy. Yeah. Anyway, so here, the cause includes the seed or the fruits. So you see all these causes, and you see not only you see the cause, and you see all these fruits, all these consequences of the causes. Okay, and whatever you see the fruit, you also see why, where it came from. So that's tremendous wisdom, if you will. That's a perfect kind of teaching. Okay? And because this is separate teaching, so it's low-level wisdom, therefore you don't have interpenetration of cause and fruitions. So far, so good. So meaning that you boys and girls out there, okay, don't be so proud of yourself. You ain't seen nothing yet. You don't understand much yet, even though you reach big enlightenment. And this is a sad thing about Buddhism nowadays. We have a lot of enlightened people, okay? And it's nice to see that. But they cannot go into the perfect teaching range where because they are not good enough yet. Yes, too.
Oh, Master, I just wanted to give a comment from Jane Clymer.
Yes.
Jane says, pick on Canadians.
I have Canadian disciples, no, which I adore. I was at a Japanese restaurant recently. It's very disappointed for Japanese restaurants in the US. They all have so much onion and garlic in their food. It's horrible. You know, he says, I don't know about you, but I normally don't eat onion and garlic. So when I go to restaurants and they serve me onion and garlic, it's like tastes strange. The food tastes not right, if you will. Okay? Or sometimes, unfortunately, in restaurants, you can't avoid it. They would fry things on oil that it's used to fry meat and fish already. So it tastes strange too. You know, all that flavor must be supplemented with alcohol. Koreans love it. You see, the Korean, I know what you Koreans go through. This is why you like soju so much. Anyway, how do we get into Japanese food again? Anyway, Japanese food is disappointment. All right. Any questions or comments? Next. 621. 4. The perfect teaching. Perfect because its meaning is that of not inclining to either extreme.
4. 原教，原以不偏为义。
I don't know where these people learn the English from when they translate these things. Inclining? I never heard the word inclining until tonight. My British English dictionary people, is there such a use for inclining? Pian is somehow inclining. Okay. Anyway, why is it called perfect? 622 commentary slide. Because inclining. How do I come? I didn't become inkling. I got fixes because they'll laugh at me. Okay. Now, inkling to either extreme. How do you get there? I think must be some sort of sabotage, some sort of AI interference. How do you become inkling? How is it possible? Inclining, I have a problem inclining, but inkling is even worse. Okay? So, perfect, because it's not inclining to either extreme. This is the definition according to the translation of the Chinese. Okay? Actually, Chinese says it's not pian. Pian is what? Pian is extreme. That's correct. One meaning of pian is extreme, meaning that they referring to the fact that non-Buddhist teachings, they tend to be extreme. They tend to go and go and go and go to the extreme. Their maximum extreme, if you will. So that's why Buddhism avoids extreme. That's why Buddhism is called moderation. Moderate yourself. Okay? So moderate your belief, moderate your criticism, or moderate your jokes, moderate your drinking, moderate whatever. Okay? That's Buddhism. Buddhism is the middle way, or the moderation, path of moderation. Okay? Therefore, pian here refers to extremes that non-Buddhists tend to fall on. If you practice non-Buddhist teachings, okay, you will find that your beliefs are actually pretty extreme in the scheme of wisdom, It's considered to be extreme because you can go so far off. Okay? You bet the farm on something that's so off, it's so crazy, so deviant, for example. Okay? And you feel so committed to it, so sure about it. Okay? To be sure itself is pretty extreme. Okay? However, for me, pian here is not only directed at the non-Buddhists, but also at the Buddhists as well. So that's why the translated extreme is not enough, because it's the wrong approach. Okay? For example, what is extreme to you? Let me ask the relics chicks.
That's me.
In my early days, I have a Chan chicks who are no longer here. I call them relics chicks.
Chicks.
Chicks. What? You want me to call you relics madams? Dames? Yeah?
I want to ask Trin's opinion. I'm not sure pian means extreme. It's more leaning or not. In the dictionary, that doesn't say pian is extreme.
There's one meaning of pian is extreme.
Okay.
The other meaning is leaning. There are two different kinds of meanings of pian, and that's why they both are valid here. Okay. Yes, go ahead, go Forrest.
I agree. I think so. From the dictionary, it's inclined and leaning. I don't think there is a meaning of extreme, but I think when you say it's not leaning to either side, that there is this implied sense of that it's not towards extreme. But I think extreme is not really the meaning.
It's no extreme, to lean towards the extreme is actually adding too much.
It's lean to the side, not leaning to either side, but not, the extreme is, I think it's an extension that's added, it's not there.
Right. But actually, extreme is also valid because it contrasts Buddhist teachings with non-Buddhist teachings. Non-Buddhist teachings go to the extremes. With Buddhism, we try to avoid extremes. Okay? Because that's why it's called middle way. Middle way means that we avoid extremes. Okay? So in contrast to the non-Buddhist teaching, the externalists, they tend to go to the extremes without realizing it. And that's why they get in big trouble. Okay? And that's why once you go further and further away, then it's very much harder for you to recover. It is very subtle. If the further you go on a tangent, it looks like you're only doing the same thing before, but over time you go further and further away. Okay? You're further away from where you're supposed to be. That's why it's called tangent. It's only on the side. Okay, you start right here at the center, but then as you get on the tangent, you go further and further away. So that becomes extreme. Okay, and Buddhists, back then, the Indian teachers would advocate things like permanence, things like nihilism and so forth, and therefore they're pretty extreme views. Okay? So it's the proper translation. Yes, there's such a thing as extreme views in order to separate them from Buddhism, but actually that's only at the superficial level. You don't want to remove that either, because it's a caution for non-Buddhist practitioners as well as low-level practitioners. You don't want to do extremes. Okay? Anything extreme is not Buddhism. Okay, you need to have moderation. All right, so pian here, bu pian here has avoiding extreme context, which is the official position when that's okay. But however, I want to point out it's not simply extreme. The middle way, perfect teaching is that you want to be just right. Okay, meaning you don't want to lean on either way. Okay, you don't want to favor Japanese and or pick on the Japanese. I mean, for example, okay, you pick on the Japanese, then you are kind of extreme already. Yes, go first.
This might be a stupid question, but it seems like if you insist on being right in the middle, not leaning on either side, that's also a bit stuck on something, right?
It's not, there's no middle.
It's also...
So it's interesting. I'm glad you pointed it out. You point that out. Skewed here or middle here, okay, only means that you are not skewed. Skewed also contains skewed all the way to the extreme. Okay? It's not inclined, it's skewed. Incline is, I'm not sure I like the word incline. I like the word skewed because there's certain preference. When you skew, is that there's a preference, there's a personal preference. Incline has it's impersonal, if you will. I have an incline of 35 degrees. Okay, skew is here, has a personal choice. Some people are skewed towards isolating themselves, avoiding contact. Okay, like the Hinayana, the practice is skewed towards avoiding contact with others. That's not the middle way. Okay, whereas some of you are skewed towards more disciple the better. Okay, more money, more fame, bigger temples and so forth. That's skewed as well towards contact. So perfect teaching here is because it's not skewed in any way. If you talk about any concept, okay? For example, let's talk about poverty. Master YongHua, when he teaches, he says, I don't wear nice clothes. You notice that? His clothes are not designer. Have you noticed? Anyone noticed? Look at all his photos. The clothes he wears are all shabby, right? So he says, basically, I'm not skewed towards designer clothes or tailored clothes like Xian Shun is wearing. You know, she's wearing tailored clothing. Yeah. Yeah. Our Xian Shun. Tailored, yeah. 定做 is it's custom made. It's true. It's true. Okay. So Master YongHua goes the route where I will go the cheapest thing possible. Okay, cheap fabric, cheap tailor. Okay, and so he's leaning towards, skewed towards cheapness, cheapity. Is there a word that cheapity? No, never mind. Cheapness. Okay, poverty, if you will. You look at him, he's poor. he drive around in a car that is like falling apart. As soon he drive by, you have to find someone, send someone behind him to pick up, pieces that's falling off here and there, because it is a hazard to others. Okay? So cheapness is what he stands for. So he's skewed towards cheapness. Or if you talk to Xian Tong, for example, who is a devoted follower of Master Hsuan Dharma, cheapness. Okay, yeah, think about it. Look at our illustrious Xian Tong. She's right there. She personifies Master Hsuan Dharma. Okay, you will not waste my water. It's her water, not Master YongHua's water. Okay? And it's so, and not just water, but also garbage as well. You will not throw away anything, including garbage. And so it's funny because I remember someone telling me proudly at Master Hsuan's temple, he said, Master Hsuan, when he taught us, we were there, and I saw someone washing a spoiled piece of vegetables, like a cucumber or whatever, is spoiling already. So it's kind of, like when cucumbers start spoiling, yeah. I mean, it's so gross, right? Even looking at it is so gross already. He said, I saw that guy standing there, running the water in it, and then using his finger and push off the spoiled portion. I said, really? And to me, at that time when I was a novice, I said, this is so extreme. Already, I said, wow, you guys so extreme. I mean, like, this is extreme poverty, man. It's okay when water is free. Yeah? But if you do that in Northern California, water costs more than the fruit and the vegetables. I'm finding out. Every month I'm spending Master Z is spending like $1,000 in water. and I'm glad they're not running water to clean, that spoiled portion of cucumber. It's nuts. It's so extreme. So to me, poverty, the way that Master Hsuan taught them, is kind of strange, extreme to me, because it's virtuous shows is not attached to it, okay? Versus Xian Tong, that's what Xian Tong now is practicing at our temple. Extreme poverty, extreme cheapness, cheapity. I think cheapity only applies to Xian Tong here. Okay? Whereas, we'll not need, never mind, I pick on her enough tonight. Some people are very sensitive. So you see, you have one side, Master Hsuan side, where he leans towards cheapness, okay, frugality, if you will. And the other side, it's only one side of it. And the other side is, I like to aspire for a red car, okay? So that, if you have both of them, that is called the middle way. Because if you only go for frugality, that's not the middle way, by the way. Because you're leading towards poverty. You're excluding everything except for poverty. You're rejecting everything else. That's not the middle way. It makes sense, okay? But that's not the middle way of a practice. Meaning, so what does it mean? Sometimes you have to be very lean, very poor, very frugal, sometimes you have to buy a red car. That's a middle way. Does it make sense? So, for example, meaning if someone wears some tailored clothing, okay, and that's leaning towards the fancy side, okay, the well-to-do side. But how do you compensate for that? I haven't figured it out yet. Yes, too. Yeah, I am open for ideas, suggestions.
So the tailor clothes maybe wear for 30 years.
There you go. Thank you. Wear it until it becomes rags. Yes, go for it.
Master, you have both sides within your disciples, so that just works, right?
Yeah, we have Xian Tong, which is enough for us in terms of typity. And the rest of us can go non-frugal, which is balances out very nicely. See, even Won Tek likes it. Now Won Tek Sunim feels so much better about himself. So you see, Xian Tong personifies strength because I don't need nothing. Okay? For us, we're weak, we're nice, we need nice things to make us feel better. And that's a middle way. Because, let's face it, to be honest, it's nicer to drive a red car to the ground.
Yeah.
So naturally, you can drive it to the ground. Versus you drive on a car like Master YongHua, which we have a few at Wei Mountain Temple. Okay, they cause a lot of headaches. They break down constantly. And it makes you come late to the lecture. Okay, so anyway, can we go back to instead of gossiping? See, now Ascension's all awake. If you can't laugh at yourself, I mean, you're extreme. Just be yourself. Okay? So what's the middle way? The middle way is you're not skewed, meaning that there's time to be frugal, there's time to be, what's the opposite of frugal? Self-indulgent. You don't lean towards self-indulgence, you don't lean towards frugality either. So far, so good. Okay? Actually, I'm joking about this to illustrate something I know that you can all identify with. Okay? That is, in Buddhism, the higher you get up there, what you need to watch out for is being skewed toward in any direction. That is the middle way. You don't need necessarily to be extreme, okay? But you want to avoid that slanting, if you will. It's very subtle. That is the middle way. That is the perfect teaching. Any questions? Perfect teaching meaning that it's perfect and also imperfect. Don't be fooled by the word perfect. Perfect here contains imperfection. That's why it's perfect. Okay? So that's why in a way, we are helping bring perfection to Buddhism. Master YongHua is slanting towards cheapiness, okay, Chipiti, okay, like Xiantong, okay, and some others are like skewed towards self-indulgence, Starbucks coffee, and so forth. You see that? Why do you need to go for Starbucks coffee when gas station coffee would just do the same thing? They would poison you to death. All right? Any problems? Okay, next. 623. This teaching directly explains inconceivable causes and conditions, the two truths and the middle way, the totality of specifics and principle, which is not to either side and is not separate.
四原教，原以不偏为义，此教证明不思议因缘，二谛中道，事理具足，不偏不别。
Very good. This is very nice section. By the way, I'm so grateful that we have the chance to spend time on this together because I'm learning a lot too. As we delve deeper and deeper into this prologue here, even the glimpses we discover, we get, are such discoveries for me. A kind of confirmation of what we've been doing. So I'm impressed because Master YongHua taught a lot that I felt I didn't see when I was there in their practices, in their explanations. And actually, for a while, I thought, why didn't he teach those things? And all that I can hear after he's gone is the skewed, the slanting, the pian teachings, okay? And that's not, to me, it's not the complete teaching. It turns out that Master YongHua's teaching is very complete, okay? He only talked about the skew towards frugality to teach virtue for his disciples and so forth, but he does not exclude the other side, okay? Excuse me. All right, 624. Inconceivable causes and conditions, meaning that you would not believe the things that are happening and what really caused it. Okay, it's beyond comprehensions. Even if you believe in cause and effect, they still are inconceivable because there's no way for you to understand it. Okay, that's what he means by inconceivable causes and conditions. Okay, meaning that there's no way for you to try to understand. That's why I often hear people ask me, why am I sick? Why do bad things happen to me? And the answer is inconceivable causes, inconceivable reasons. Okay, so for us to try to explain it to you is not complete of a picture that we're presenting to you. Okay, so instead of trying to understand inconceivable causes or inconceivable conditions, okay, instead you accept it and you use them. Okay, understanding in Buddhism is overrated. This is where scholars fail miserably because when you see the word inconceivable causes and conditions, meaning that it's not possible to explain everything to you. To me, that's what it sounds like. Okay? So for me to try to explain to you, I can joke to you about a little bit here and there, but for you to walk away satisfied that you understand everything would be doing you a disservice. Okay? So there's a lot more than we can understand. Be more humble. Don't think you understand everything. Don't be so sure of yourself. For example, the Catholic says God is everything. They're so sure about it. That's wrong. How did we get to God again? Oh, hi, Daniel. Yes, go for us.
Hi, Master. I had a question. How do you explain precepts and where they fit with the middle way?
Precepts has two levels, if you will. The levels where they tell you, the Chinese tell you, or the corporate line is that whole precepts, even if at the price of your life. That's the kind of precept. Okay? It's for low-level people who are prone to shooting themselves in the foot. So that's why, don't shoot yourself. Don't you hold a gun. Okay? Let alone an AR-15. You only hurt yourself. Okay? So, for example, in Buddhism, the monks and nuns are not allowed to collect weapons. So please don't give me things like samurai sword, which I love, or guns, including BB guns. Okay, so those things are prohibited in the precepts because they are harmful to you. So at all cost, avoid them. Don't go there. Okay, and that's wisdom. Because why? Because stupid people have a tendency of hurting themselves, and they don't realize it. They're so proud of it. For example, that to me is so shocking that in Utah, there's some belief from those Mormons where when your kids are sick, you don't bring them to see a doctor. Say, what? You're going to take a chance with the life of your kid? There's some people who the science, there are plenty of knowledge there that can help, that can be very helpful, and you exclude that in your life? That's crazy, man. That's extreme. Okay? And so you avoid these, the precepts are designed to help us avoid hurting ourselves. And because we are so stupid, okay, you follow the precepts, you will not hurt yourself. Starting out. So far, so good. That's why the corporate line of precepts is even hold the precepts even at the cost of your life. Meaning that don't violate them, period. No excuses. Okay? This is for your own protection. And that's Buddhist wisdom. For idiots. I don't know how else to call you. You need precepts if you're an idiot. Because you're hurting yourself constantly and you don't even know. That's what you have. You better stick to the precepts. You're hurting yourself in such a big way that you don't even realize you're hurting yourself. That's why it's so dangerous. Yes, 3.
Hello, Master. Welcome back to LA. We miss you so much.
Thank you so much.
Please stay here forever and ever until
I like you. No wonder he likes you.
Emitofuo.
So you guys are in good terms again? Oh, very good.
Master, there are people they took refuge from other place and then they come and they take refuge with you. But what about the
Amen.
the 5 precepts, do they need to retake the 5 precepts with you also, or they automatically have the precept substance from you? What is the recommendation?
They should take them again.
With you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Emitofuo.
Emitofuo. I used to tell people that if you are a disciple of Master YongHua, you don't need to take refuge again, precepts again. Okay, but then they're so abused now. Now the new people are told, their disciples are told they're taking refuge in Master YongHua. Okay, the Jin generation, 3rd generation, and so forth is total nonsense. That's stupidity. Okay, and they are so stupid they buy it. Okay, it's ridiculous. Okay, however, on the other hand, his disciple, my generation, the gold generation, I also encourage them to take refuge again, because our teaching now are beyond his teaching. Okay, so that it's advisable for you to take refuge again, and to take precepts again. Okay, if you don't, it's okay. If you don't, it's okay because it's your life. You can do whatever you want. What about left home people? Let me extend the question to left home people. Okay, in our world, there's something called Yizhi, where you go to, let's say, my temple and stay there and practice. Versus some people who says, I want to become your disciple. It's 2 different things, because you don't necessarily have to receive the precepts again. Okay. However, the training is different. Why? Because when you're a guest at my temple, okay, and I treat you like a guest. I will not touch you. I have fun with you, I joke with you, but there are things that I cannot do, such as hitting you on the nose. I can talk about it, but I can't hit you. Okay? But my disciple, you see me hit them on the head constantly. And we don't know is I hit them in many other ways as well. Okay? And so there is a boundary where if you do Yizhi, like the Chinese style, then you basically says, I'm here temporarily. I'm here to pick up whatever I can out of this environment, out of you. And I respect that. Whereas when you say, I want to become your disciple, then it's my commitment to you that if you buy a disciple, then you better know this. I become very brutal sometimes, and you may not like it. Whereas you prefer me to be polite to you and be pleasant to you, I can try to do that. Yes, 2.
Thank you, Master. You have a comment here and a question from Christopher. Master, I understand that animals can take refuge, but should they take precepts too?
No. Animals are too stupid to take precepts. Okay? Thank you for the question. Okay, so inconceivable causes and conditions, meaning that we cannot understand. I don't understand. How can I possibly explain it to you? That's the truth. Okay? So don't try to ask me why all the time. Number 2, the 2 truths and the middle way. This is important. This is in Avatamsaka Sutra. This is the wisdom. They talk about this. Okay, the 2 truths. What are the 2 truths? Truths are the emptiness truth, okay, or the primary truth, which is emptiness. Okay, everything is empty. It's nothing that's not empty. Number 2 is the relative truth or the mundane truth. 俗谛 Su here is for mundane, for ordinary people, for ordinary perspectives. So the truth in the primary sense is the emptiness truth, okay? And that is the ultimate truth. Whereas there's something called relative truth, which is meaning that the truth that is true appears to be true temporarily. What's an example of the truth that's temporary? You should know immediately. What's the truth that's temporary? Come on. What is it? Love. Love of God is temporary. Love of Buddha is temporary. Love of your mother, your child is temporary. Just look at yourself. You see how we love our kids when they're so young and so helpless, so cute? Okay? And then they grow up and become a teenager. Don't you hate them? And wish they run away from home? Or kill themselves? You see? That love there is temporary. Okay? So, that's a beautiful thing about the Buddhist teaching. There's something absolute, which is emptiness. There's something called relative, which is temporary. Yes, too. So cool.
I have a question, Master, myself, about emptiness and temporary.
Yes.
We have an attachment to our good knowing advisor. Is
Terrible.
that temporary?
That's temporary, trust me.
But
Until you find out your good knowing advisor is not who you think he is.
huh? What's that mean?
He's a different person.
I mean, okay.
Everyone has a persona.
Oh, we know that. But what I wonder is if let's say our good knowing advisor was our good knowing advisor before in a previous lifetime,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So is that an attachment? I mean, is that bad?
No, it's not bad. But let me put it this way for you. You're only limiting the confines is too narrow. Here's my problem. Okay? I idolize Master YongHua because he's the extraordinary man, the first man I've met who's like that. And I kept looking for all these years, all this time here until today, tonight. I cannot find anyone who comes even close to him. No one. And believe me, I look. I constantly are looking. Okay? Like MBA people, I'm not loyal. There's no loyalty in me. Okay? Okay. So I'm always looking. I cannot find anyone who's better than him. No one. So I can categorically tell you that he's my idol, bar none. He's number one up there. Okay? I look up to him. Okay? There's nothing wrong with that. Okay? Because that's a fact. Okay? And so that we can call it as infatuation, as love, as admiration, whatever you want to call it, is very unique. It's so intense, so strong, that is no comparison. Okay? But that does not preclude me from also admire someone who's better. You understand? Meaning that I, for example, was blessed with being able to meet with the sixth patriarch once. And to me, it's opened my eyes in a way that Master YongHua could not. If I look like the Master YongHua teaching me to do Chan, now the sixth patriarch go like this. Violently. I love it. Yeah, I said, wow, you are so brutal. My teacher is so gentle, and you are so mean. It's so cool. So you see, so does that mean that my feelings towards my teacher, my first teacher, Master YongHua, has it changed? No. It just has the same. It's still the only idol I have. It's the only man I respect and admire in this building and this world where I see no one else. Okay? It's still there. However, it does not preclude me from adoring and aspiring for this short man called the sixth patriarch. You know, it's a different thing. Okay, so that's why this thing here used to fill up my entire life, my entire heart, is still there. But my heart has grown bigger. It's no longer unique. Before it's 100%. Okay? No matter how badly he treated me, I said, okay, I cannot find anyone who is as good as you are, so I will stick with you. I'll stick with you to death. That's why I call myself Hua, because I will always follow you. YongHua is I will always follow you, Master YongHua. That's one of the reasons why. Okay, YongHua is that I will always be Master YongHua's boy. Whether he rejects me or not, I'm still YongHua's boy. Okay? YongHua. Always Hua's boy. Okay? Okay? It's there 100%. But now, because of the sixth patriarch's fault, my heart has grown bigger. So even now, even though it's the same size, that I have admiration for Master YongHua. Okay? But at the same time, I also have space for others as well that taught me. And so therefore, you see, the thing is at the same time is permanent as well as temporary. Permanent in a sense that it's there. It doesn't change. It's temporary because its relative size has changed. Relative importance has changed. That's why you need to have both. Absolute and relative at the same time. So absolute is here 100%, okay? But also in the scheme of things, it's actually not 100%. It actually is 1%. Once you expose to others, does it help with relative and absolute? You're still the same, okay? It's like you love your child so much, then comes a second child. Does it help? So it's relative, if you will. There's a truth called relative truth. And it's so cool because you can be free. It relaxes you. Because that's why now you look at someone who says, God is everything for me, that's absolute, then they're missing out on the relative truth because it's too narrow. Okay? When your heart is bigger, that's how it becomes relative. Does it help? So that's the same thing. If you think that you attach to good no advisors only because you haven't the other good ones, better ones, haven't revealed themselves to you yet. It's not time yet. Actually, they're all helping you. Meaning that not just Master YongHua, not just me, but Wan Yin's helping us, Manjusi is helping us, Universal Worth is helping us, Six Patriarchs helping us. All those teachers are helping us, helping you. You just don't know. That's all. They're helping not just you, but also me as well. It's kind of cool. They're helping God as well, but they don't even know it. Okay? So that's the nature of the truth. It's something called relative truth. Don't be so sure of yourself. Don't think you know everything. Don't bet your life on the farm. Don't bet the farm on it. Okay? There's always things that you don't know. What you know is only relative. And that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just who we are. It's how things are. That's why you can relax. Don't be so uptight. Like, for example, in Korea, Daeji Chunim, who came from Proud Jewelry Order, says, how come you guys are doing it wrong? Okay? That's the primary truth. Okay? You have to do a certain way. Precepts has to be done a certain way. And you should sacrifice your life. And in order to keep precepts, that's the first the first teaching. Second teaching, let me finish the answer to Ray's question, is what about precepts? I'm telling you, what Master YongHua taught us, okay, is only that first half of it, where you should sacrifice your life to keep precepts. Don't violate it. Why? Because you're stupid. You can't say that. You're so confused. You're so stupid. You're so deviant. So therefore, stick to the precepts. However, the problem with that is that when his disciples became enlightened, he did not teach them about precepts for enlightened people. It's not in Master YongHua's teachings. That's why his enlightened disciples do not understand precepts at all. Very much like the teachers in Hinayana who teach precepts, they only understand the do or die side. They don't understand the enlightened side. That's why they cannot help you when you violate precepts. Remember, you better learn to keep precepts. Be safe. Okay? So when you violate precepts, what are you supposed to do? You're not quite sure. And so this side here, this is when you learn the other half of it, where what to do beyond holding precepts as the only way to practice precepts. Does it help, Ray? Because so precepts, because since we're here at 6:24 and we're running out of time, here's a concept of the middle way. That is, if you only learn the Buddhist Dharma, the instructions only sacrifice your life, okay, rather die than break precepts, then what about the Buddha who says, hey, The Buddha lies, which the Buddha violates his own teachings. Where does it belong? The other side, okay, for enlightened people, if you will. So they're different. You cannot look at them the same way as you losers. Should be looking when you look at yourself in a mirror. Okay? So that's why it's understandable. These losers, they don't understand at all. They say, oh, you're such a bad person. You're such an evil person. You ain't seen evil yet, idiot. Okay, we stop here today. We have to pick this up 624 again because it's a very important concepts. See you next time. Thank you.
Thank you, Master.